Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like your words were falling on deaf ears? Like your presence was being taken for granted? Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful decisions you can make, choosing silence. Because when you stop talking, when you withdraw your attention, that's when the truth emerges. That's when you find out exactly who values you. There's a reason silence is so loud. It forces people to listen, to reflect, to confront what they might not want to face. When you stop talking to her, something remarkable happens. She starts to notice your absence more than she ever appreciated your presence. And that, my friends, is where transformation begins. The first thing she'll do, she'll wonder why. Your silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of power. She'll replay past conversations, analyze her behavior, and start questioning herself. You've planted a seed of curiosity, and it's growing. Her emotions will come to the forefront. If she cares, she'll feel the void immediately. If she doesn't, her indifference will tell you everything you need to know. Silence isn't just golden, it's revealing. It's a mirror that shows her how much or how little she values you. Suddenly, she's doing things differently. Maybe she starts reaching out, trying to get your attention. Maybe she changes her tone, her approach. Or maybe she does nothing at all. Either way, her actions or lack thereof speak louder than any words ever could. Your silence will test her patience, and more importantly, it will test your own. Will she reach out to you? Will she let it all crumble? This is the moment where you discover whether the connection is built on mutual respect or convenience. Stepping back doesn't just affect her. It empowers you. It reminds you that you're not dependent on her response. You have your own value, your own worth. By detaching, you send a message. I'm not here to beg for your attention. I deserve mutual effort. And finally, if she truly values you, your silence can spark a new beginning. It can lead a relationship built on respect, effort, and understanding. But if she doesn't, you've saved yourself wasting energy on someone who wasn't willing to match. So, what happens when you stop talking to her? Everything. Silence isn't just the end of a conversation. It's the start of clarity. It's a powerful tool that reveals the truth and reclaims your self-worth. My friends, if you take away one thing from today, let it be this. Never be afraid to walk away from a situation that doesn't honor your value. Because when you stop talking, you don't lose, you learn. And that, my friends, is how you grow. When you stop talking to her, the first thing she'll do is wonder why. Silence isn't merely the absence of words. It's an unspoken statement, a powerful shift that forces attention. People rarely consider the impact of their actions until something disrupts the norm. When you withdraw your communication, you create a void. And it's in that void that the most profound realizations begin to take shape. Her mind will naturally start to race, questioning what caused this change. Did she say something wrong? Did she overlook something important? Was she taking you for granted? These questions won't just linger, they'll echo, becoming louder as the silence stretches on. The beauty of silence lies in its ability to make people introspective. Without your words to fill the space, she has no choice but to fill it herself, with her thoughts, her reflections, and her emotions. She'll replay the moments you've shared, dissecting conversations that may have seemed insignificant at the time. A joke you made, a compliment you gave, or even a disagreement you had will take on new weight as she searches for answers. This reflection forces her to face what she might have ignored: your value, your presence, and the role you've played in her life. Your silence also disrupts her routine. If she was accustomed to hearing from you daily, the sudden lack of communication becomes glaringly obvious. People are creatures of habit, and when a pattern is broken, it feels unnatural. She'll notice the absence of your good morning messages, your check-ins, or even your casual remarks about her day. This disruption can trigger a deeper realization. The things she took for granted were actually things she relied on. Your silence highlights the effort you were putting into the relationship, and in turn, it forces her to confront how much or how little she was contributing in return. The curiosity sparked by your silence is not passive, it's active and consuming. It creates a sense of urgency within her. If she values you, this urgency will drive her to action. She'll start questioning herself, examining her role in the dynamic, and possibly reaching out to bridge the gap. She may try to regain your attention, not through shallow gestures, but through genuine attempts to reconnect. However, if she doesn't care enough to react, that too speaks volumes. It reveals the truth about how much or how little she values you and the relationship you've shared. This period of silence becomes a test for both of you. For her, it's an opportunity to reflect and take accountability. For you, it's a chance to observe without interference. Silence gives you clarity. It shows you who truly appreciates your presence and who is merely comfortable with your availability. When you stop talking, you're not just stepping back, you're creating space for the truth to emerge. In that space, her curiosity and reaction become a mirror, reflecting the depth of her feelings and the true nature of the bond you share. When you stop talking to her, her emotions come to the forefront in ways you may never have seen before. Silence has a unique way of drawing out hidden feelings, bringing them to the surface where they cannot be ignored. She will begin to feel the void left by your absence, and that void will speak louder than any words ever could. The emotional impact of your silence depends entirely on how much she values you. If she genuinely cares, she will feel the weight of your absence almost immediately. The moments she once took for granted, your messages, your calls, your presence, suddenly become glaringly obvious in their absence. This emotional evaluation forces her to confront the reality of how she feels about you. Does she miss you, or does she feel indifferent? If she misses you, her feelings will begin to manifest in actions. She may reach out, subtly or directly, to test the waters, to see if the connection can be repaired. On the other hand, if she feels indifferent, her silence in return will give you an undeniable answer about her true priorities. This is where the power of your decision to step back becomes evident. You've given her the space to reveal what she might have been unwilling or unable to show before. For some, this emotional reckoning can be unsettling. She may find herself reminiscing about the times you spent together, the conversations you had, and the way you made her feel. These memories carry emotional weight, and in your absence, they can grow heavier. People often don't realize the value of what they have until it's gone, and your silence becomes a catalyst for that realization. If she truly cares, she'll start to see the depth of her attachment to you and the role you've played in her life. This emotional clarity doesn't just affect her, it shapes how she views you going forward. For others, this period of silence might expose a lack of genuine connection. If she doesn't feel your absence, that lack of emotion is just as revealing. It's a sign that the bond between you may not have been as strong as you believed. While this truth can be painful, it is also liberating. You no longer have to invest your time and energy into someone who doesn't reciprocate your feelings. Instead, you can focus on finding someone who values and cherishes you the way you deserve. Did you know that face-to-face usually means more to both of you? Ultimately, the emotional response to your silence reveals more than words ever could. It's not about punishing or manipulating her. It's about creating space for authenticity. In the absence of your voice, her emotions have room to breathe, to grow, and to be fully understood. Whether that leads to a stronger connection or a realization that it's time to move on, the clarity that comes from this emotional evaluation is invaluable. When you stop talking to her, her behavior will shift in ways that are impossible to ignore. Silence has a way of triggering a response, and that response is often a reflection of her deeper feelings and priorities. People react to change, and when you remove your presence from the equation, she is forced to adapt to the new reality. This shift can manifest in many ways, each one providing valuable insight into how she truly feels about you and the relationship you shared. She might start to reach out, testing the waters to see if you are still there. These attempts might come in subtle forms, likes on social media, a casual message, or even an indirect inquiry through mutual friends. These small gestures are often her way of trying to gauge your reaction without being too vulnerable. She may not want to appear overly eager, but her actions will reveal her desire to reconnect. On the other hand, her behavior might become more pronounced. She could escalate her efforts, expressing regret or concern about what went wrong, and make direct attempts to restore communication. These actions speak volumes about her willingness to work on the connection and her recognition of your value. However, silence can also reveal a lack of effort on her part. If she does nothing, if she remains silent in response to your withdrawal, it's a clear indication of where her priorities lie. This lack of action can feel disheartening, but it's also liberating. It gives you clarity about the situation and frees you from investing in someone who isn't willing to reciprocate your energy. It's not about holding a grudge or expecting a certain outcome. It's about observing her response and understanding what it says about her level of investment in you. Your silence might also trigger introspection in her behavior. She could begin to reevaluate her own actions, wondering if she played a role in creating the distance. This self-reflection is often a crucial turning point. It can lead to growth, both for her and for the relationship, if she recognizes areas where she could have been more attentive or supportive. This behavioral shift is a sign of maturity and a willingness to grow from the experience. At the same time, your silence can highlight patterns that were always present but perhaps overlooked. If she consistently avoids confrontation or accountability, her reaction, or lack thereof, will reinforce this. On the flip side, if she's someone who values connection and communication, her actions will align with that, showing her commitment to resolving the situation. In the end, the shifts in her behavior are less about you and more about her. They reveal her character, her values, and her true feelings about the relationship. Whether her response is one of urgency, indifference, or reflection, it provides you with the clarity needed to move forward. Her behavior, or lack of it, becomes the answer to questions you may not have even realized you are asking. When you stop talking to her, she will feel the weight of your absence almost immediately, and her mind will begin to replay every interaction, every conversation, and every moment you shared. This mental replay is not just a habit, it's a natural response to a significant shift in the relationship dynamic. Silence is one of the loudest forms of communication because it forces people to confront what's been left unsaid. My preponderance, she'll start dissecting everything, your words, your tone, your actions, searching for clues that explain why you've withdrawn. This process can be consuming because the human mind craves resolution, and unanswered questions only deepen the mystery. As she analyzes your absence, her perception of you begins to evolve. She'll start to question if she took you for granted, if she failed to recognize your value while you were present. The memories of your support, your consistency, and your presence will stand out in stark contrast to the silence you've left behind. People often don't realize the importance of someone until that person is no longer accessible. And in this void, she'll begin to understand what she might have lost. This mental shift isn't just about missing you. It's about reassessing the role you played in her life. Was your connection built on genuine appreciation, or was she simply accustomed to your availability? Your silence forces her to confront these questions, and the answers will shape her perception of herself and the relationship. If she truly valued you, this realization will hit hard, and it may compel her to take action. She may reach out, seeking to reestablish the connection and show that she recognizes your worth. On the other hand, if she doesn't feel the need to reflect or reach out, her silence in response to yours speaks volumes. It reveals a lack of emotional depth or commitment, which might be difficult to accept, but is ultimately a blessing in disguise. The mental replay you've initiated becomes a filter, separating genuine connections from superficial ones. Her mind will also grapple with the question of what this silence means for her future. If she envisioned you as part of her life, your absence creates a void that's difficult to ignore. This void isn't just about missing conversations, it's about missing the possibility of what could have been. Your silence becomes a wake-up call, urging her to evaluate the potential of the relationship and her role in its success or failure. Whether she chooses to act on these realizations or let them pass will reveal her true intentions. Ultimately, this mental replay is not just a response to your silence, it's a testament to the impact you had on her life. It forces her to see beyond the surface and confront the deeper emotions and connections that might have gone unnoticed. In the stillness of your absence, she'll either find clarity or confirmation, and the outcome will speak to the authenticity of what you shared. When you stop talking to her, one of the most telling things she will do is test boundaries, whether intentionally or subconsciously. This testing is her way of trying to understand the situation and gauge how much influence she still has over you. Silence disrupts the dynamic, creating uncertainty, and in response, she may start to push or probe in subtle or overt ways. This is not always done out of malice. It's often an instinctive reaction to the loss of control or the desire to reestablish some form of connection. She might begin by testing how quickly you respond if she reaches out. Casual text or a seemingly innocent question about something trivial might be her way of seeing if you're still accessible. If you respond quickly, it reassures her that despite your silence, she still holds a place in your life. However, if you maintain your distance or delay your response, it signals that the power dynamic has shifted. This lack of immediate reaction forces her to reassess how much influence she truly has over you, which can be both unsettling and eye-opening. Her actions might escalate if subtle testing doesn't yield the results she desires. She could post something on social media designed to catch your attention, whether it's a picture, a quote, or an update that she knows will evoke a reaction. These are deliberate moves to see if you're still watching, still engaged, even from a distance. Your response or lack thereof becomes a measure of her hold on you. If you react, she knows she's still on your mind. If you don't, it creates a new layer of uncertainty, compelling her to question her approach further. Boundary testing can also take on a more emotional tone. She may bring up past memories, trying to evoke nostalgia or remind you of the connection you once shared. This is her way of seeing if the bond is still intact, even in the absence of regular communication. By doing so, she's probing whether the silence has truly severed ties or if there's still an emotional thread connecting the two of you. Alternatively, if she feels the silence is a power play, she may test boundaries in a defensive or confrontational way. She might accuse you of ignoring her or try to provoke a reaction to regain a sense of control. This kind of boundary testing reveals her discomfort with the uncertainty that your silence has created. It's an attempt to reassert herself and bring the relationship back to a place where she feels more secure. Closed question. The only thing that remains through this 500, in testing boundaries, she's not just responding to your silence, she's revealing her own fears, insecurities, and intentions. Whether her actions are gentle attempts to reconnect or more forceful efforts to regain control, they provide insight into her feelings and priorities. This testing phase is as much about her understanding herself as it is about understanding you. Her actions, or lack thereof, ultimately show what she's willing to do to preserve or let go of the connection. When you stop talking to her, she will often take time to reflect, either consciously or unconsciously, on the connection you shared and what your silence means. This period of introspection is inevitable, because silence has a way of creating a mirror, forcing both parties to confront truths that words might have previously masked. She'll begin to analyze not only your actions, but also her own, questioning the dynamics of the relationship, the reasons behind your withdrawal, and what it all signifies about her role in your life. Her reflection might start with an evaluation of her own behavior. She will revisit past interactions, recalling moments where she could have been dismissive, unappreciative, or even unaware of the effort you were putting into the relationship. This can lead to a newfound understanding of how much you brought to her life and what she may have overlooked. These realizations can be painful, but they are also a catalyst for growth. The absence of your voice and presence creates a vacuum where clarity begins to form, and she's forced to reckon with parts of herself that contributed to this. At the same time, she will think about you and what your silence says about your intentions. Is this a temporary pause, a test, or a permanent decision? These questions will race through her mind as she contemplates the meaning behind your actions. The lack of communication can feel like a puzzle she's compelled to solve. She'll wonder if you're truly moving on, if you've grown tired of waiting for her to reciprocate, or if you're simply taking space for your own reasons. Each scenario forces her to confront her feelings, not just about you, but about what she wants moving forward. This reflective period often leads her to consider what life without you looks like. If she values you, this reflection can stir deep emotions of loss, regret, longing, and even a sense of urgency to repair the connection. If she doesn't, it confirms that her priorities were never aligned with yours, providing you with the clarity you need to move on. Reflection is also where she starts to consider what actions to take next. Should she reach out, or should she wait for you to make the first move? Should she apologize or explain herself, or is silence her way of maintaining control? These internal debates reveal her priorities and emotional investment in the relationship. They show whether she's willing to confront her vulnerabilities, or if she'd rather let things fade away without resolution. Ultimately, her reflection during your silence isn't just about the relationship, it's about her. It's a moment of truth where she must confront who she is, what she values, and whether she's willing to fight for what matters. This process, though internal, speaks volumes about her character and the depth of her connection to you. In the end, silence is far more than the absence of words. It's a powerful act of communication that reveals the true nature of relationships. When you stop talking to her, every action or lack of action on her part becomes a testament to her feelings, priorities, and understanding of your worth. Whether she reflects, reaches out, tests boundaries, or chooses to let go, her response tells you everything you need to know about her character and the connection you share. Your silence forces clarity for both you and her, creating a space where intentions are unmasked and the depth of the bond is measured. It's a moment of truth that either strengthens what's real or exposes what was never meant to last. Remember, silence is not about punishment or manipulation. It's about understanding. And in that understanding, you find the wisdom to move forward, either together on stronger ground or apart with the dignity of knowing your value.